When we think of Greece, our minds often travel back in time. We picture marble temples gleaming under a Mediterranean sun. We imagine brilliant minds debating life's biggest questions in bustling marketplaces. We see athletes competing for glory in the very first Olympic Games. These are the incredible gifts Greece gave to the world: democracy, philosophy, theater, and so much more. They are the foundations upon which our modern world is built. But what happened after this golden age? What became of the people who dreamed up these world-changing ideas? Their story did not end when the Parthenon was completed. It was only just beginning a long and often difficult journey through history. The legacy of ancient Greece is not trapped in stone or ancient texts. It is a living, breathing force that has shaped civilizations for thousands of years. From the Roman emperors who admired Greek art, to the Renaissance scholars who rediscovered its wisdom, the ideas born in this small, rocky country have echoed through the centuries. They have inspired revolutions, fueled scientific discovery, and given us the very words we use to describe our political and artistic worlds. The story of Greece is a story of survival, of a culture so powerful and so profound that it could withstand empires, wars, and immense hardship, waiting for its moment to shine once more in the sun. This essay will take you on a journey through time. We will walk through the ancient glory of Athens and the disciplined world of Sparta. We will witness the birth of democracy and listen to the timeless wisdom of Socrates and Plato. We will travel with Alexander the Great as he spreads Greek culture across the known world and see how the mighty Romans became its greatest students. This is not just a story of the distant past, it is the epic tale of a nation's soul, a story that connects the ancient world directly to the challenges and triumphs of Greece today. It's a tale of how an ancient light, though sometimes dimmed, was never truly extinguished. We will explore how this incredible legacy was preserved through the Byzantine Empire and survived centuries of foreign rule. We will stand with the heroes of the Greek War of Independence as they fought to reclaim their freedom. Then, we will navigate the turbulent waters of the 20th century, a time of immense struggle and profound change. Finally, we will arrive in the present day, to see how Greece, now a member of the European Union, continues to draw strength from its ancient roots, as it faces modern challenges. This is the story of Greece, a nation of epic resilience, whose ancient heart still beats strong. In the sun-drenched landscape of ancient Greece, powerful city-states emerged, each with its own unique character and destiny. The most famous of these were Athens and Sparta. Athens was a bustling hub of creativity and commerce, a place where ideas flowed as freely as the wine. Its citizens walked through the agora, the central marketplace, not just to trade goods but to debate politics, share news, and shape their society. Life in Athens was a vibrant tapestry of art, theater, and intellectual curiosity. It was here, amidst the olive groves and marble quarries, that the groundbreaking concept of democracy began to take its first tentative steps, forever changing the course of human governance. In stark contrast stood Sparta, a society forged in discipline and military might. From a young age, Spartan boys were trained to be soldiers, enduring harsh conditions to become the most feared warriors in all of Greece. Life was simple, austere, and focused entirely on the strength and security of the state. While Athens celebrated the individual mind, Sparta celebrated collective duty and sacrifice. These two cities represented the two powerful poles of the Greek world. Their rivalry was intense, often leading to conflict, yet their combined legacy created a rich and complex civilization that valued both intellectual freedom and unwavering strength, ideas that continue to fascinate and inspire us. It was in this dynamic environment that philosophy, the love of wisdom, was born. Thinkers like Socrates wandered the streets of Athens, questioning everything. He challenged people to examine their beliefs, to seek truth, and to live a virtuous life. His student, Plato, wrote down these profound conversations and went on to establish his own school, the Academy, where he explored ideas about justice, reality, and the ideal state. Then came Aristotle, Plato's greatest student, who cataloged the natural world, invented logic, and tutored the young Alexander the Great. These men weren't just thinkers, they were pioneers of the human mind, giving us the tools to analyze our world and our place within it. This golden age also gave rise to unparalleled achievements in art and science. Architects and sculptors created masterpieces of harmony and beauty, like the magnificent Parthenon, a temple dedicated to the goddess Athena. In medicine, Hippocrates was developing a rational approach to healing, promising to do no harm. Meanwhile, in the sacred valley of Olympia, athletes from across the Greek world gathered every 4 years to compete in games held in honor of Zeus. The Olympic Games were more than just a sporting event, they were a symbol of Greek unity and the pursuit of excellence, a tradition so powerful that it was reborn in modern times. The era of the independent city-states reached its dramatic climax with the rise of a figure from the north, Alexander the Great. Taught by the great philosopher Aristotle, Alexander was a man of immense ambition, military genius, and a deep appreciation for Greek culture. In just over a decade, he led his Macedonian and Greek armies on an astonishing campaign, conquering the vast Persian Empire and creating an empire that stretched from Greece all the way to India. He wasn't just a conqueror, he was a visionary, who dreamed of a world where different cultures could blend together, united by a common language and shared ideas. Alexander's conquests ushered in a new era, known as the Hellenistic Age. As he marched east, he founded new cities, many named Alexandria, which became vibrant centers of Greek or Hellenic culture. In these cities, Greek art, philosophy, and science mixed with the traditions of Egypt, Persia, and the Near East. The result was a dynamic fusion of cultures that produced incredible innovations. The Great Library of Alexandria in Egypt, for example, became the intellectual capital of the world, housing hundreds of thousands of scrolls and attracting the greatest scholars of the age. This period spread Greek influence far beyond its original homeland, making it a truly global phenomenon. After Alexander's untimely death, his vast empire was divided among his generals, but the cultural seeds he had planted continued to flourish. Greek became the common language of trade, government, and learning across the Mediterranean and the Middle East. This shared cultural landscape made it easier for people, goods, and ideas to travel across vast distances. It was a world connected not just by roads but by a shared understanding of art, literature, and science. The Hellenistic kings who ruled these new kingdoms became great patrons of the arts, building magnificent cities, temples, and theaters in the Greek style, ensuring the legacy would endure for generations. As the Hellenistic kingdoms began to decline, a new power was rising in the West: Rome. The Romans were practical people, brilliant engineers and soldiers, but they were deeply impressed by the sophistication of Greek culture. They saw in Greece a source of wisdom, beauty, and intellectual depth. Roman generals and governors brought back Greek statues to adorn their villas, and wealthy Roman families hired Greek tutors for their children. They translated Greek literature, copied Greek art, and adopted Greek philosophy. In a sense, Rome became the great protector and amplifier of Greek culture, absorbing its lessons and spreading them across its own even larger empire, from the misty shores of Britain to the deserts of Africa. As the Roman Empire faced internal decay and external threats, it eventually split into two halves. The Western Roman Empire fell, but the eastern half, with its capital at Constantinople, not only survived but thrived for another 1,000 years. This new empire became known as the Byzantine Empire, and it was fundamentally Greek in its character. Greek replaced Latin as the official language of the state and the church. The emperors who ruled from Constantinople saw themselves as the direct heirs of both the Roman Caesars and the ancient Greeks. They preserved the classical texts of philosophy, science, and literature in their libraries and monasteries, acting as custodians of a precious heritage. For centuries, the Byzantine Empire was a beacon of civilization and a formidable power in the Mediterranean. Its capital, Constantinople, was a magnificent city, famed for its massive defensive walls and splendid churches, most notably the Hagia Sophia, a marvel of engineering and art. Byzantine scholars and artists built upon their classical Greek foundations, creating a unique and deeply spiritual style of art, characterized by its golden mosaics and profound religious icons. They were the guardians of ancient knowledge, protecting it from being lost during Europe's dark ages. This empire was the vital bridge that carried the light of Greek civilization through a long and often turbulent period of history. However, the Byzantine Empire was surrounded by enemies. It fought long and exhausting wars against Persian, Arab, and Slavic invaders, slowly losing territory over the centuries. A devastating blow came in 1204, not from a traditional foe, but from the Christian knights of the Fourth Crusade, who brutally sacked Constantinople. The empire never fully recovered from this betrayal. Weakened and fractured, it became increasingly vulnerable to the rising power of the Ottoman Turks in the east. In 1453, after a heroic final stand, the city of Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II. The fall of the city sent shockwaves across the Christian world and marked the end of a 1,000-year-old empire. For the next 400 years, Greece was under the rule of the Ottoman Empire. Life under Ottoman control was often difficult. The Greek people were subjected to heavy taxes and had fewer rights than their Muslim rulers, though they were generally allowed to practice their Orthodox Christian faith. Despite the hardship, the Greek spirit of resistance never died. The church played a crucial role in preserving Greek language, culture, and identity, keeping the memory of past glories alive. In remote mountain villages and scattered islands, stories of ancient heroes and Byzantine emperors were told, nurturing a dream of freedom. This long period of occupation was a time of darkness, but the flame of Hellenism was kept burning, waiting for the right moment to ignite once more. After nearly 4 centuries of Ottoman rule, the dream of a free Greece finally erupted into a fiery reality. In 1821, the Greek War of Independence began. It was a brave and desperate struggle, fought by ordinary people, farmers, merchants, and priests, who rose up against a mighty empire. The rallying cry was Eleftheria wan Thanatos, meaning freedom or death, a powerful expression of their determination to reclaim their homeland and their destiny. The war was brutal and marked by immense sacrifices, but the revolutionaries were fueled by a powerful sense of national identity, inspired by the legacy of their ancient ancestors and their shared Orthodox faith. The Greek struggle for freedom captured the imagination of people across Europe. Romantics, intellectuals, and adventurers who had been raised on tales of ancient Greek glory were moved by the sight of the descendants of Pericles and Leonidas fighting for their liberty. This movement, known as Philhellenism, brought crucial support to the Greek cause. Volunteers like the famous English poet Lord Byron traveled to Greece to fight alongside the revolutionaries. The great powers of Britain, France, and Russia, initially hesitant, eventually intervened. Their combined naval forces destroyed the Ottoman Egyptian fleet at the Battle of Navarino in 1827, a decisive moment that effectively secured Greek independence. In 1832, the modern Greek state was officially born. However, the path to building a new nation was not easy. The great powers, wary of a republic, imposed a monarchy on Greece, appointing a Bavarian prince as its first king. This created immediate political tension. The new nation was small, poor, and burdened by the scars of war. For much of the 19th century, Greece struggled with political instability, economic hardship, and the challenge of uniting all Greek-speaking peoples, many of whom still lived under Ottoman rule. The dream of the Megali idea, or Great Idea, the vision of a greater Greece encompassing all these lands, would dominate Greek politics for decades. Despite these immense challenges, the 19th century was also a period of nation-building and cultural revival. Athens, which had been a small town under Ottoman rule, was transformed into a grand capital city with majestic neoclassical buildings designed to evoke the glory of its ancient past. A national education system was established to promote the Greek language and history, strengthening a shared sense of identity. The nation worked to establish modern political institutions and build a functional economy from scratch. It was a difficult and often frustrating process, but it laid the essential groundwork for the modern Greece we know today, a nation forged in revolution and determined to build a future worthy of its legendary past. The 20th century was a period of profound trial and transformation for Greece. The nation entered the new century driven by the Great Idea, the ambition to liberate Greek populations still under Ottoman rule. This led Greece to participate in the Balkan Wars, and then World War I, on the side of the Allies. These conflicts resulted in significant territorial gains, nearly doubling the country's size and population. However, this success was followed by the disastrous Greco-Turkish War of 1919 to 1922, which ended in a crushing defeat known as the Asia Minor catastrophe. The dream of a greater Greece was shattered, leading to a massive and traumatic population exchange between Greece and the new Republic of Turkey. The interwar years were marked by deep political division and instability. The rift between monarchists and republicans, known as the National Schism, paralyzed the country's politics and led to a series of coups and short-lived governments. This turmoil was a prelude to the immense suffering that would come with World War II. In 1940, Greece achieved a heroic early victory against Mussolini's Italy, but the nation was soon overwhelmed by the German invasion. The subsequent Nazi occupation was a time of brutal oppression and widespread famine, during which a brave resistance movement emerged. The liberation in 1944, however, did not bring peace. Instead, Greece descended into a bitter and devastating civil war that raged from 1946 to 1949. The conflict pitted the government's army, supported by Britain and the United States, against communist-led partisans. This war tore families and communities apart, leaving deep and lasting scars on the nation's psyche. The victory of the government forces ensured Greece's alignment with the West during the Cold War. But the country remained politically fragile. The fear of communism was used to justify a climate of political repression that simmered for years, preventing true national reconciliation and healing for a generation. This period of instability culminated in 1967, when a group of army colonels seized power in a military coup, establishing a brutal dictatorship known as the regime of the colonels, or the junta. For 7 years, Greece lived under a repressive regime that suspended civil liberties, imprisoned and tortured thousands of political opponents, and imposed strict censorship. The dictatorship finally collapsed in 1974, following its disastrous attempt to overthrow the government of Cyprus, which provoked a Turkish invasion of the island. The fall of the junta paved the way for the restoration of democracy. This event, known as the Metapolitefsi, was a moment of national celebration, heralding a new era of freedom and political stability for Greece. The restoration of democracy in 1974 opened a new chapter in Greek history. The country held free elections, adopted a new constitution, and officially abolished the monarchy, becoming a republic. In 1981, Greece took a momentous step by joining the European Economic Community, the forerunner of the European Union. This decision anchored Greece firmly in Western Europe, bringing significant economic investment, modernizing its institutions, and fostering a period of growth and optimism. For several decades, the country enjoyed rising living standards and political stability. It seemed as though Greece had finally found its place as a modern, prosperous, and democratic European nation, successfully navigating its way out of a turbulent past. However, this period of prosperity came to an abrupt end with the global financial crisis of 2009. It was revealed that Greece had accumulated massive public debt, triggering a severe sovereign debt crisis that shook the nation and the entire Eurozone. Greece was forced to accept a series of painful bailout packages from international lenders, which came with strict austerity measures. These policies led to deep cuts in public spending, soaring unemployment, and widespread social hardship. The Greek people endured years of economic depression, a period of profound struggle that tested the nation's resilience to its very limits. It was a modern-day odyssey, a journey through immense difficulty and uncertainty. Despite the immense pain of the crisis, the Greek spirit of philodomo, a uniquely Greek concept of pride, honor, and duty, shone through. The people responded with resilience, solidarity, and a renewed sense of creativity. While tourism, a vital pillar of the economy, remains crucial, showcasing the country's stunning natural beauty and archaeological treasures, Greece is also looking to the future. A new generation of entrepreneurs is driving innovation in technology, sustainable agriculture, and renewable energy. The country is working hard to reform its economy, attract investment, and build a more sustainable and diverse economic future, emerging slowly but surely from the shadows of the crisis. Today, as we stand in the 21st century, the journey of Greece continues. It is a story that stretches from the ancient agora to the modern European Parliament, a tale of incredible glory, immense suffering, and remarkable survival. The legacies of democracy, philosophy, and art are not just relics in a museum. They are part of the nation's DNA, providing a source of pride and inspiration. The same resilience that preserved Greek identity through centuries of foreign rule is the same resilience that is helping it overcome modern challenges. The story of Greece teaches us that even after the darkest of times, the human spirit, nurtured by a powerful and timeless legacy, can endure, adapt, and build anew.